And we are...
And in the bottom right of the map, we have our pink Protoss player from Team Swanky. It is Oxygen.
Yeah. Huh. And in the top right-hand corner of the map, spawning as our green Protoss player, we have Experta.
So he said Azadar,
Azadar?
which makes me wonder, because like, in Azadar's name, you die for the Executor. Now, I'm sitting here going, okay, I wonder if I need to read some novels with Protoss in them to understand what this is about. Or if that's just the way they say Tassadar's name in his version.
Maybe.
It's just entirely possible. I've never played any of the other language pack versions storylines. Like, I mean, we've all heard the Korean, or whatever that thing that the Zealots say.
Oh, yeah.
But like, I really am kind of curious to play the Korean storyline version. Just to hear
You should play it. You should play it translated back, like play the Korean, but translate it back into English, and see what happens.
Oh my gosh!
See how the literal translations turn back and forth.
That would be so crazy. You should think about how incredibly like frustrating it would be to have the ability to like, let's say you've got the character. He can understand any language, but what he understands is the equivalent of what you'd get out of Google Translate.
Very nice. That'd be awesome.
So
I'd love to see
doesn't
that.
understand what they're saying, but he kind of does. So he's getting like, this person says, I don't know. Actually, can't think of any examples off the top of my head. It's like, I know what tends to happen though is that it doesn't pick up on any subtlety whatsoever. So literal meaning only. And
Looks like these guys are doing a mirror build. I mean,
it's basically what this is the standard gateway cybercore opening where you get two gases. This can turn into literally anything. You can expand off of this, you can go Robo, you can go Stargate. And the key thing is to watch what happens shortly after the Cybernetics core is finished. So we're looking at Oxy right now. It's picked up about 150 gas. That's just enough actually for a Stargate. So we'll have to see if he goes for that.
we have warp gate technology started by Experta, so it looks like he's going to be sticking with a ground-based army at least.
Oxy has not grabbed warp gate just yet. And bam, there's the Stargate.
I don't know. I don't know how effective this Stargate opening is going to be, because Stalkers are already on the way for Experta. So
As long as they're in the right position and he has two Stalkers, he can kill the Oracle. And he'll be fine. Especially with the Mothership Core, eventually he'll have Photon Overcharge. But what the Oracle does give you, if you're pretty good with it, is it gives you the ability to scout the path that your opponent is taking. If he seems to be going a lot of Stalkers, for example, you just push out a lot of Void Rays. If he's going Stargate himself, you push out a lot of Void Rays. If he's going for Robo, you push a lot of Void Rays. If he's going for DTs, you cry. Because you got one shot to stop him, and they're probably warping into your base right now.
yeah, so this is actually kind of interesting. He's getting warp gate now. Experta's actually getting a Stargate himself. Maybe Phoenixes?
He did see him throw it down. Actually, Quick Phoenixes is a hard counter to that. Especially if the person tries to back it up with Void Rays, because you'll be able to get over their base and just shut down anything they make before they can get too far into it. Phoenixes, generally a very strong play, but the problem with them is how much APM they require.
Yeah.
If you're not good at controlling units, it's going to probably hurt you more than it'll help. Oh, but he's going to rice him with Oracles. It's just a little bit more of a delayed Oracle in an attempt to have some Stalker defenses out, I think, on Experta's part. So this could do a lot of damage. Where is he rallying the Stalkers, though? Uh-oh, they're at the front of his base.
Bum, bum, bum.
So now here's that awkward moment where the Oracle flies in. Do they see each other? No, they're just barely not. Oh boy, here we go. He has enough for a Photon Overcharge, but he should be able to get a few kills out of this. He's already gotten 4, so this has been basically worth it already for Oxy.
Is he going to sack it or
Nice.
is he going to get out? He's going to get out.
Yes, very good. He needs to get out of there. Now, here comes the reply attack. Back home, there isn't really actually anything here other than, well, there's a few units, but they're not actually in the mineral line. The attack has started. Let's see if the damage can be equalized by our ooh, photon overcharge. Damage is about equalized, but the Oracle
Oh,
does not survive.
and he only killed off 7 probes on the return fire. So Oxy got 2 more probe kills, and he's following this up with Void Rays. Uh, whereas a Robo Facility's coming down for Experta.
This is a pretty risky move. Basically, it's possible to win doing this against the Stargate build, but you need to really, really push out units and attack quickly. Time is not on your side. If that Void Ray count climbs enough, the army that you end up with does not have any ability to kill the Void Rays.
Yeah. Well, if he were to race up to 5 or 6 warp gates, he might be able to just flood enough stalkers fast enough. Once he gets that second base up, that he could counter this pretty easily.
It's tricky because both players have taken such significant worker damage that is not really as much of an option. They could 4-gate, but that's kind of it. So I think I like this decision though. He's going back in for more probe damage. Now if Oxy can keep this up, yeah, that's a lot of work he's just done on that base. Oh yeah, I think he's totally clear to do this. He knows that with that composition, he can just build it up over time. This thing is at the same time though, Oxy needs to be a little concerned. I don't think he actually saw the Robo Bay. No, he doesn't know about that, and he didn't see what he was building. So even though he did do 6 workers worth of damage, and that's great, he's not, he's not 100% aware of what's happening.
Very true. Looks like the Void Ray counts up to 3. Going to be hitting 4 here in a minute. I like how Oxygen's not really... He's not overcommitting to this. He didn't plant down another, 2 Stargates on top of this to reduce the Void Rays. He's just building them one at a time, nice and easy, so if he needs to, he can transition into something else without overcommitting, if you will.
Yeah, he's not... And he's grabbing ground attack upgrades, too, which actually implies that he really does want to augment this with a nice ground army. Kind of something I'm not too sure on right now is whether you're going to go one way or the other. Ooh, is that Oracle flying back in? Is that a Phoenix? No, that is the Oracle, and he's doing more and more. Oh.
Oh!
Oracle finally dies, but that is a heroic Oracle. Having done basically 20 probe kills over the course of this game.
Good times.
As of this moment, though, surprisingly enough, the econ advantage for Oxy is actually fairly small. He's ahead by 4 workers. The primary form of his advantage is actually an army, which Experta has not really been able to keep up with so great.
Yeah, I mean, Oxygen actually has enough here. He could just push out with this next Void Ray and probably just end it right now. Like, Void Ray is going directly into... well, I was going to say directly into the natural, but with 3 photon cannons down, you don't really want to go there. But he could take on this army without a problem.
No, yeah, and Experta's, he's kind of reeling so much from this harassment that he's actually just spamming his base with cannons. And this may turn out to backfire pretty hard. Oh, looks like Experta's also choosing to go for Void Rays. This is a rough place to be. He's kind of been outpaced a bit.
Yeah, he's really really far behind. If he has any hope of catching up, he's got to have another Stargate out, and he's got to be producing off of both of them. And I don't think he has enough to do any of that. So
No,
I mean,
it's not looking like it.
He's kind of left in a really really bad spot.
Probably the only thing he could actually do to exploit Oxy's position right now, if he managed to scout the entire base, kind of get an idea, it's like, oh yes, he's just building a ton of Void Rays, and then try to sneak out DTs. He actually knows that could work because he's got an observer hanging out with the army, but the thing is, that might be too little too late. As now the army's moving across the map, and he's actually trying to do it. There's the Twilight Council. It can't be just for Blink, I would imagine.
And there's a Warp Prism moving out. He's going to skirt along where the army is. He might even, if he can't get the DTs up, he might just summon in, or might just warp in a bunch of Zealots just at the back of Oxygen's base. And that should be enough to kind of make his army think twice about moving out as far as he has.
Yes, if he can draw him back home, that really will Experta's position. This army is mostly very vulnerable to the Void Race, so it's going to come down to whether or not... No, I actually think this is going to be pretty one-sided. Here comes the attack. Zealot's attacking at the front. Void Rays looks like going to get picked off. Nobody's used the focus ability just yet. There it is. Experta's Void Rays are now out of commission. The remaining units are taking extra damage from the beams, and that's it for the army. It's not started a DT shrine or anything, as far as I can tell, so I think we are looking at pretty much the end of the game here.
This isn't looking too well. Hello? Is here a Nexus, maybe? Nope. Nexus goes down. Still 5 Void Rays on the map. More Zealots getting warped in, and there's the GG from Experta.